Welcome everyone. We've got a fabulous members only goal setting exercise today, and some of us have actually checking in from the first round of goal setting earlier this year, and we have some new ladies joining us today as well. So we've had a spate of apologies, but we will hold them in our hearts. I'm sure things come up as they do every day, and we can't always get here. So we have recorded this, but we'll edit anything out if there is anything you don't want recorded. So let us know at the end. Welcome to our Effective Goal Setting Masterclass. I'd like to acknowledge this beautiful country and where we live. I'm on the lands of the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation, and it's a really important part of their wetlands that stem from the river right through to the oceans. So just like to acknowledge that it is sacred sovereign land, and we've got women coming in from calls all around Australia, and we'd like to respect our elders, past, present, and those emerging. And of course, we always celebrate and encourage our Indigenous sisters in business to join us in our pursuits at Business Women Australia. I'm Lyn Hawkins, National Director of Business Women Australia. You all know who I am, so I'm not actually going to do all the usual things that I will do in our webinars, but I do want to acknowledge that it is because of you, our dynamic collective of women coming together with all your hearts, with all your intellect, with all your experience, that really makes this group so phenomenal. And all the co-creation that we do is with you. So you can see our fantastic lineup come. July's busy. We've just had a really full-on June. It's been a cracking year so far. If you want to catch up on any of our podcasts, we have so many fantastic subjects, most recently investment strategies for executive women, and we've got Katie McDonald on the call today, and break through your inner glass ceiling with Pretty Bowler. You can catch up on our podcasts on any of your favourite platforms. They're on Spotify, they're on YouTube, you'll find them on our website in our recording resources section. And I do believe we've got another podcast coming up with Leslie Kay. Leslie's going to be sharing her lessons from $60 million empire of building an empire that she built, as a CEO, to her burnout strategy and what she's learned. And then we're going to share a little bit of what's coming up as a project that we're partnering on. Leanne might be able to talk about that later on. 5th of July, that's our masterclass. We've got another online masterclass on climate risk reporting with Dr. Kate Ringvale. We've got Perth Chats and Cheese with Vita Carlino. Stop Fixing They're Not Broken. On the 20th of July, we've got Melbourne Conversations and Connections at Rob Dollar Winery with Kerry Nobes and Catherine Dixon. I believe Catherine's on the call today. Kerry was an apology. She's taking her mum out of hospital today. She's over in Melbourne as well. On the 26th of July, we've got Sydney Chats and a connection roundtable facilitated by Martina Saudi and hosted by Microsoft. And we have another one, I think, after that. Nan's doing an online masterclass as well. So check the calendar on the website. We've got our monthly e-news coming out soon. Oh, there we go. They're online. We've got Katrina Ford on the 31st of July as well. So a cybersecurity Q&A on the 31st of August. I think I've covered everything there. Okay, that's my updated one. So without further ado, let's get on to our agenda. So a goal without a plan is just a wish. I'm sure you've all got your favourite mantras around goal setting. And I think we're sort of really starting to think about goal setting as being about our intentions. You know, the days when we were very, very KPI driven are still here. We still have our KPIs and we still have our business or our personal things, our to-do lists. But so much of our thinking about how we reset and revisit and what we do is often about how we are. Well, So some of you might be at this plan, do, check, act cycle. So some of you have seen this before, and it might be new to some of you on the call, but I will go through it again. For those of you that came to our January session, or February, whenever it was, you might be at the check space part. You've been probably doing a bit of a plan, you've been implementing it, you're probably at the place where you're reviewing it, and then the act part is tweaking it, thinking about what's changed, what's coming up. So this plan, do, check, act cycle is very adaptive, it's very agile, and it's a great way to think about personal planning as well as planning within your business. So I'd like to jump into, just put in the chat box, say hello, who you are, where you're from. You might want to say the state you're in or the organisation or who you're representing today. Just pop that in the chat box. And a little bit about why you registered for the masterclass. Why did you register for this? And if it was just to see me, I'm happy for you to say that. I'll take that. I love you guys too. So just pop that in. That gives us a bit of grounding to see each other and who each other is here. So keep an eye on that chat box. And while you're doing that, I'm going to talk a little bit about this plan, do, check, act cycle, just to revisit it, because it's always a good one to revisit. So planning, you know, the best practice is for it to be SMART goals, you know, that they're specific, they're measurable, they're actionable, they're realistic, they're time specific. And I'll just go through those again in a minute. But it's really important to have kind of some SMART goals with intentions on how we're going to be. So when we go and do it, it's the implementation part too that really is, I think, where our values and our purpose and the drivers behind us is really going to shape how we go about and how we show up when we're actually achieving what we're setting out to achieve, and how we're bringing others along that journey as leaders. Checking and measuring how we're going against what we're doing, and then thinking or acting on what we're learning, so that cycle, you know, can come around and go back to our planning again. So those of you who want to start with the checking bit, if that's where you're at, please do. For anyone else that wants to sort of focus on any of these other parts of the do, check, act cycle, please think about where it is and what's going on for you right now. You might be at a very early stage of replanning or refocusing on something, or shifting gears. Often that's the case when we jump into a goal setting session. It is usually during a time where we're interested in a transition or something big coming up. But it's all about learning from what we have experienced in the past and how we're going to take that forward and shape who we want to be and how we want to be and what we want to do in the future. So for those of you who, obviously most of us have heard of those SMART goals, but it's always good to remind us that, you know, what it is to be specific. It's good to have a specific and clear goal that is measurable, that it is possible. You know, some of our SMART goals, you know, I've worked with quite a few people over my career, and sometimes the goals are realistic. In fact, I was probably one of those people that would have unrealistic sales goals for my teams very early in my career, because I'm a natural optimist. I'm naturally always thinking I can do way more than I can, and it would put my teams under enormous pressure trying to reach these unattainable goals. And I'm working with an organisation at the moment, and the goals are really like very achievable, and the bonuses inside those achievable structures are really generous, and the team is doing so well. They're smashing these goals, and it's a great environment and a great culture. And it just reminds me of the times that, compared to the times when unachieved goals just actually bring about often very competitive things, very toxic behaviours, no sharing, all that sort of stuff, and having this thinking about team, where within those attainable goals the team piece might be. So if you're sitting in a leadership group with a team, how does the team get rewarded too for team goals? encouraging those kind of teamwork things. And that they're relevant to what it is your higher purpose. So thinking about what the overall purpose is our goals relevant, and are they time specific? So it's no good saying, I'm going to build $1 million business. Put some sort of time on it. You know, it might be over 5 years or over 3 years. Again, coming back, is it attainable? Is it relevant? How is it? Is it measurable? How am I going to measure it? Is it a profitability one? Is it a revenue goal? Can I bring it down into monthly? Can I bring it down into weekly and measure it? So getting away now from those hard and tactical goals, I like to always bring Wheel of Life, because, we are who we are at Business Women Australia. And the reason our members join is because we all want and feel holistic attachment to who we really are as a woman in the world, as a woman in life, as a woman with our own needs. So when you're thinking about your goals, I always like us to step back out, because I know when we think about our goal setting, we get quite often very narrow in our thinking. And then if we go back out here and look at our Wheel of Life, we start to measure how we're going against what it is that is fully human about us, spirituality, our romance or partnerships, our relationships, our social or our friendships, our health, our well-being, our finance, our wealth goals, our career or our business goals, our family or our place in our tribe, whoever that might be, and then our knowledge or our expansion goals, our education or our personal growth, intellectual growth goals. So And there might be other aspects that are more important to you than others. I know with me, I always, when I'm working on my Wheel of Life and looking at, where I'm at with things, like my family will be split up. My children have their own little part of the pie, each one. And then I have my extended family on my side, and then our extended family on Simon's side. So I actually do quite a lot of work around that, because that's important to me. Since Mum died, I'm the matriarch in my family, and so that's important for me to have that connection with each one of the individuals. So I've gone right down into my individuals. Like, I've just realized I struggle with the names of the great-grandchildren of my mother's great-grandchildren, who I'm the great niece, and I need to do some work over the next 12 months, really reconnecting with my nieces and nephews who've got children. So, this is, thinking about this and you looking at this now, what I'd like you to do, some of you have had some really good experience in this, but I'm going to drop you into pairs. Leanne, if you can put us all into pairs for, let's say, 7 minutes. I want you to share with each other what's coming up for you as an important pie. What part of the pie in your Wheel of Life is really important to you right now, and why? And then we'll talk to each other in pairs about that, and we'll come back, and you can share if you want, or obviously our breakout rooms are not recorded, so you can feel free to share fully with each other and get to know each other.
Just so you know, I'll be staying in this room because we need someone here. So,
well, you can always jump out.
I can jump, yeah.
If you want to, that's fine. And stop the recording while we're in there for 7 minutes. Otherwise, it'll just be 7 minutes of looking at your beautiful face, which is absolutely perfectly fine. It's quite good meditate on your face.
All right. Open all rooms, onto it now.
Thank you. We've got a few came in while we were away. Welcome, Caroline. That's great to see you too. And Jay Zabi.
Yes.
Good to see you. Excellent. Great. So you wouldn't have had the chance to properly do your sharing, but who would like to share first about what was coming out of them?
Yeah, actually, I was sharing. I was in the room. I was talking with another girl with
Excellent.
yeah, and it was really nice. She was talking about she wanted to focus this year on family and well-being, and that a little bit of well, every single part of the pie is correlated as well. So we were having a nice chat, and about myself that I would like to focus on friends, because I think you grow with the people that you hang around the most. And I would like to make better relationships, to do more networking in order to grow as well. So yeah, I wanna get to know better people, get to learn a lot about them. And yeah, there we go.
Beautiful. Thanks, JSV. And Leslie, I saw you had your hand up. Let's hear from you. And welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me. Yeah, interestingly, I've spent a lot of time in the foundations of almost every area, but my key focus for growth, and hence why there's some exciting things coming up with BWA, would be the business. It's the time to give back to the women and the people I'm here to serve from a place of understanding what it takes to have harmony in the other areas. So it was super interesting to witness. Yeah, we were talking about like 2xing versus 10xing, and where I feel like I've got such a large platform and I've done so much in business and in growth. And I would say like at the moment I'm a 6, but it almost feels like that 6 is another going back to 0 again, to platform into, to stop playing small in the impact versus the cool, this is nice and this feels good, but how much more impact do I have to give to the world and be in service to and in devotion to. So it was really beautiful to witness and celebrate the growth, but to also actually be like, nah, I've been playing small and it's time to really crank it up in these areas. And loving the reflections on relationships and family as a focus as well.
Yeah, gorgeous, gorgeous, Lily. We're looking forward to doing more wonderful things together that are very heart-centered with you. Tracy Cooper, did you want to share anything? You're off mute.
Yes, I am. Hi, everyone. I was in a room with Lyn, and I talk for most of the time, surprisingly or unsurprisingly. But I guess what I was talking about is I was reflecting on my notes I took at the first one that we did. I don't know, was that January, February? I'm not sure when it was. But for those of you who don't know, I stepped aside from a business I had for 23 years and started another one this year as Tracy Cooper Change Specialist. I used to do leadership and teams and change, but I've stepped aside just focusing on change. And I said to Lyn, looking back at my notes, I actually underestimated how long it was actually going to take to get the wheels turning again into a new business and people getting to know me as this. They still know me, but the services that I'm now offering. So, but I often used to say Australians take a while to wake up after the January holidays and into Easter, but as soon as we hit June, life has started to change a little bit. So, but yeah, I've got about 6 coaching clients now. I've got 2 other clients that are doing some major change in their organisation, and I'm working alongside them. So it's starting to turn. But I was excited to say that I'm coming to Perth for some work. So yes, and Lyn's telling me there's an event on the 8th of is it August? Yes, 8th of August. So I'll come along to that. So yeah, I guess for me also, Lyn said to me about making sure my health and well-being is good, and I've had to really watch that and make sure that I'm exercising, diet's good, sleep's okay in these menopausal times. But yeah, it's I'm taking some holidays again. Life's not that tough. I'm going to Croatia in August, so I'm looking for, and if anything, it's firing me up to. I'll be spending time with friends, but it's firing me up to get really focused up until that period. So yeah, my numbers have shifted a little bit, and that's positive. So.
Yeah, that's a great sort of case study example almost, Tracy, about how when we are at the beginnings of something, we're often very hypercharged and often don't realise how long it can take to rebuild.
Mhm.
and to repurpose with a new brand. And quite often I've found too, I'm the same. I need to revisit quite often, you know, what my original goals were, and not beat myself up if I am not making that,
Yes.
you know, that it's actually okay, that it was just me being a little bit over positive and maybe not realizing how long it takes for people, because even our existing client base and our existing champions and those who refer to us have to understand, well, what is this new thing, and how are you engaging, and who are your ideal clients? They might have known for years, for 23 years.
Mm.
You know, they've built an understanding of what you're about and what you stand for. And then when you do something new, within your, you know, it's a different team, it's you, and you're building from scratch. You know, it's not just going to sort of go from, you know, this level and then move across. It sort of does take a dip to move back up again. It's very, very true. And it's not something that people talk about. They always talk about their successes when they launch their businesses. They always talk about, you know, the struggles, especially in that first 12, 18 months.
Yeah, and I will very quickly I'll just add that being a part of this group, Business Women Australia, has been a big part of helping me with that process. And I think the connections I've made and people I've got to know through this has really helped to have that collegiate support. And the mastermind I did recently, the Secret Sauce, it was great. And I've made some very good connections through that. So I can only encourage anyone else who's on here, get on and do some mastermind stuff and share your knowledge and share what you do, because it actually has helped me very much. And the support from
women. That's so good to hear. Thanks, Tracy. I'll pay you later. That's awesome. Anyone else want to share what's coming up for you in your pie? No? Okay, well, let's move on. Everyone's good. Everyone wants to move on to the next bit. We're all going to be hyper-focused. I can see that today, right? So there's our pie again. So have another little look at it. And we're going to move on to knowing that every dream is possible. So, you know, what desires, what goals, intentions, and dreams are bubbling up for you going forward? I just need to take some time, not in a breakout right now, but just to write down, jot down what would be your 3 greatest intentions, or if you want to call them goals. And then you don't have to write them as SMART goals right now. That can be something that comes, but write down your three biggest intentions for the next however months you want that to be. I personally like to do things in 3-month cycles, because I like to respond very quickly to change. So for me, I'll do a very broad thing, which might be, I want to make Business Women Australia profitable over the next 18 months. Profitable enough to increase our resourcing. I'd like to have, you know, 2 full-time people being able to be paid to grow and help shape the future Business Women Australia from an operational point of view. I would like to have a board in place that's functioning and creating opportunities for revenue generation and engagement with additional communities. So these are my kind of goals. That's how I think. Someone else might have a very broad goal. So we will share some of those shortly too. Okay, a couple more minutes just writing down your goal. I'm going to put you back into different groups, just 2 each again, and to share one of the goals and to try and have it so that it can start to become part of a plan. So if we go into our planning cycle, what is the goal? Why is it important? Who does it relate to? Or who is involved? Who needs to be involved with that goal? How is it going to be achieved? How am I going to be? Is it specific around a place? Like, where is it? Where is the relevance of that goal, and when? What's the timely part? So just anything around sort of really sort of taking one of those goals that you think, and sharing that with the person, talking about that, and then helping each other working out, well, what would that look like as a plan? A what, by who, how, where, when type plan. And I'm going to put you into pairs again. And this time we'll have 10 minutes. I think we need 10 minutes just working with each other, so pairing up, adding up on really mapping out one goal into a plan. LJ, if you can pop everyone into different groups, that gives us a chance to get to know each other with someone new. So the goal and the plan. What, why, who, how, when, where, and when. Or if you've got a better way of planning that works for you, just do it your way.
I've got 5 breakout rooms ready to go.
Okay. Go for it. Thanks, LJ. 10 minutes is great. And don't forget to pause recording. Yes. Yeah, so the doing part is obviously the action and the implementation side of things, and really important to have that calendar. So think about who you're going to be having dates with, how you're going to approach them. And it's not cold calling. It is about sort of sounding out opportunities for mutual conversations. I usually start with wanting to understand them and what their business is about. So then, I can hopefully come with a gift. If I refer something to someone else or build a relationship or something, that I give them something or give them even a sense of understanding that I get what they're about, and start to build a friendship, then things occur out of that. And it's a really important part of any project. It doesn't matter if it's a business development project or if it's a project around, getting a visa. It's all around the relationships and how we communicate and how we bring that sense of ourselves, who we are, and our why to the conversation. And that builds a lovely closeness. Opportunities can come by, and they might not come about immediately. They might take years to come about, but they'll be in your camp. All these people that you've developed that professional friendship or the outside friendship, if it's an outside goal, it might be a personal goal that you're working on. Once we've done these things and we've started to progress our plan and we've started to implement things, the way that we check and track our progress, so this is the PDC part before the act. The checking part is checking how we're going. How are we going against our goals? And not just against our SMART goals, but I also like to measure against the wider impact. And this might be in relation to, how am I coming across? Am I coming across pushy? Am I sitting a little bit in a more, for me, a more calm place to give them space to be who they are? Am I checking in with them? Working with a wonderful woman at the moment on a great project. We're developing a platform for coaches and coachees to be connected to each other. And she is probably as I don't know if those of you that have done the HDBDI stuff, but she's great. I'd say she's green blue. She's very similar to my accountants, very detailed, very analytical. She's quite introverted. I have to be so aware of my own self when I come to the table with her, that I try and slow down, give her space to talk, get into the detail. Even if I'm itching to talk about the big picture stuff and get all excited and build a relationship and have fun, I have to really bring my energy down. So before I even get on a call with her, I do some grounding. I think about my intentions. I imagine her, and I imagine her coming into the call probably thinking, oh God, I've got an hour with Lyn, so that I can meet her where she's at. And so that actually means that we can have a very productive meeting and I don't distract everything too much, which I have a tendency to do, and I'm very aware of that. So when we think about our checking, check not against the goals, but against how we are and how we're showing up and how our impacts are, and checking in with other people. How am I going? How are you finding? We're working well together. What is it that I need to know about myself that might be coming up for you, that might be getting in the way of you being able to, focus or whatever it might be, so that you're starting to build those relationships based on honesty and truth and really powerful closeness. It can surprise people. It's not generally a way, in a lot of cases in our business environments. I mean, I work predominantly with engineers, lawyers, accountants, so they kind of get a bit surprised, but it's absolutely exciting when they stop and say, do you know what? You actually go way too fast. I'm actually feeling a little like I'm just trying to keep up. Can we bring it back down again? Or they might say, hey, I'm really happy. This is actually challenging me. I'm okay with it. Or they might be saying, I don't think you're getting the numbers. I don't think you're getting something that they think is really important and we're glossing over. So it's all about that sort of tracking progress, not just on achieving the goals for ourselves, but how are we actually, as leaders, as co-workers, as team workers, as TAs, as consultants, coaches, whatever we might be, how are we going with the other person? And that's the great thing about us as leaders, stretching, earning, and being authentic and true, and leading to our own truth and knowing we're not perfect. So any surprises, any lessons that have come through, anything that you want to share with people along the way? What worked? Not everything's going to work. That's okay. What new information has come up in this check process? What's come up that is actually going to mean that you need to then act on things? But celebrate the journey, celebrate the successes, and celebrate the learnings along the way. I always say the time to celebrate at the check stage, not at the completion, because there is no completion really, is there? It's a plan, do, check, act cycle that is a cycle of continuous improvement. And it's based on the theory of Kaizen, which is a Japanese theory of continuous improvement, which is a stepping into always building upon, always learning, always pivoting, always evolving. So celebrate the success. If you've had a big fuck up, celebrate. I had a great celebration with one of my co-workers in another group yesterday about something that she learnt along the way. And I said the best thing about it for me was that I realised that she's not perfect too. So that's great because, she's just these amazing young people that just really hasn't made any mistakes along the way. So it was wonderful to see her make a mistake And as awful and devastating as it was for her, and she felt really bad about it, I was so delighted. I said, I'm so happy that we're talking this mistake. And she goes, you're such a strange manager. Most people get like wrapped on I put you in the deep end. I said, yeah, you actually have made a really tricky situation for me. It's actually fucked up. But actually, I'm really glad we learnt this early, because you can be too confident, and you've actually learned a really important lesson. You know, you don't actually know all the different stakeholder relationships, and sometimes it's good to actually run things by me or by one of the other executive directors, because you don't know all the stuff that's going on in the background. And though you got it off your to-do list, it's caused a problem, but it's great because you'll check in a bit more regularly with us, and it's good. So there are also always ways we can celebrate the stuff ups as well as great things where we have achieved a goal. So then we get to the plan, check, act part of this fantastic continuous improvement cycle. So when we act, that is the bit about the tweaking. And okay, from all those things that we learnt, all the lessons, all the new information that's come up, whether it's the specific goal related or whether it's about ourselves in terms of our behavior and how we are and how we come across and the things that we can learn and improve and tweak. What is it that we want to add? What do we want to keep? What do we want to modify? How do we want to fine tune it? What do we want to let go of? What have we learned we know is not going to serve us anymore in this process, in this goal? And this is a really powerful way. It's not about chucking it all out and go, well, that didn't work, I've got to try a whole new thing. And I see this happens a lot in the big corporations and the businesses that I work with, is that there might be a mistake made and they'll chuck out the whole thing. They'll chuck out a whole project. And I'll be going, don't chuck it all out. There's bits, don't throw the baby out the bathwater. I don't know where that saying came, it was terrible, but it's true. You know, sometimes there's some real gems in there. When I joined another company as a consultant, they had a past person there who they were a bit pissed off about because they had kind of left the organisation on reasonable terms. But this person was a very powerful person in the community. And I said, it's really important that we rebuild that bridge. And that's where the alumni programs started to come out. In the day when I was working with KMG, we started to realise that it's okay. It's not, they haven't divorced you. They don't blow up your car. These are just alumni that are moving on to great things. Let's have a program that isn't sticky. That was back in the 90s when the partners used to be all puppy when someone left them. So, you know, these kind of the way that when we look at what is the opportunity, where are the gold nuggets, and how do we preserve what was actually something good at what we were doing, that there is a lesson learned in something, but we can build upon it, act and build. That is often the most powerful planning cycle of all. And of course, I love to add into this the systematizing, the process part of things. I find this quite fascinating because they don't see me as a big process person, but I am. I love processes. I love systems, because within processes and systems, I can delegate things to everybody because I'm essentially a lazy director. I love to delegate. I love to find out what are the resources, who are the resources, who's got to do what by when, how do we turn it into a system, and then we can actually then build from that planning cycle something that can be able to elevate into something bigger. So think about how that might impact on your goals and what you're working on now. Is there something that you're doing in your business that can be systematized? So revisiting, reviewing what we did last round, what worked, what didn't, tweaking, improving, modifying, refining, keep what's working, drop what's not. Planning with the SMART goals, doing, implementing clarity, checking, measuring how we're tracking, and then back to planning. Now, with the systems, for those of you who are interested in any of the project management software or what have you, we could, you know, if you are interested, let me know, pop it in the chat box. We could do something specifically on project management tools and showing how different people are using it. If that's something that you want us to share as another masterclass, let us know. Finance and reporting tools are another important area as a part of our systems thinking. obviously customer relationship management and database management when we've got clients, when we are looking at our pipeline, when we're looking at how nurturing our relationships, how we're looking at current clients, how do we deal with people who have left us, keep them still as great fans and ambassadors for us as we grow. How do we manage our documents? What are the business processes that we improve, and how do we harness AI? These are the systems that I love, and you've probably got more that you would add to that, but these are the sorts of things that I talk to with my clients in my management consulting practice. And what I would love to do is finish off now is to say who wants an accountability buddy. And we will pop you in pairs. You don't need to be the same accountability buddies that you had last time. You can keep with those buddies if you want, but have another buddy. So what I would like to do is just, if you would like to have an accountability buddy, make a note in the chat box and Leanne will connect with somebody. They might be someone on this call, most likely. And if they're not, if we don't have enough available on this call, we've got other buddies that are leaders in the Business Australia community that are happy to buddy up. And with that buddy, they're the person to talk through around, what your goals have been and how they're reshaping and how you're going them, and they're just a sounding board for each other. It's a great way to build community across the states. So if you are wanting to be buddied up, pop in the chat box now and say, yes, buddy me up, Leanne. And we will do another check-in. So we do these, what do we do in July? We'll do another check-in on our planning masterclass. We designed along these kind of lines. So it'll be using the plan, do, check out cycle. If you've got a way of doing it, I'd be open to hearing it. Or if you want to lead the class, I'm always happy to step back and let others lead the class. So we'll do probably another one, I think, around November. That's a great time of the year before the busyness of Christmas stuff comes in. So it'll probably be late November. And it'll be the same kind of, if everyone has a preference for a day, or if you'd like to stick with this, pop it in the chat box as well. And we will accommodate that. So I think we've just about finished. So well done, on time. How's that? Okay, you've all got one word that shares either what you're thinking, okay, for you highbrow intellectual type, you can tell me what you're thinking. If you're a heart and you want to talk about how you feel, I'm happy to hear both, but it's got to be one word. Okay, Caroline Armstrong, one word from you. How could she choose?
Yeah, I thought I really found it solidifying.
Solidifying, that's a cool word. Melanie.
Yes, if I have to put this into one word, I would say refocused.
Refocused, nice. Kerry.
I was sitting here thinking, I don't know that I have one word. I think mine is all about family. This has really just got me focused on family.
Beautiful, I love that. Tracy Cooper.
2 words, fired up.
Fired up, I love it. And I love 2 words for you, rule breaker.
Rebel, 1 word. Yeah.
I love it. Catherine Dixon.
Energized.
Energized, nice. Kyrie.
Awakening.
Awakening. Leanne Jeffrey.
Not a weird one. It's investigative.
Investigating. Oh, I like it. Yeah. And Jace.
Clarity.
What was that?
Clarity.
Clarity.
So,
Clarity.
and I think Katie McDonald's just put one in before she shot out too, is excited as well. Well done, ladies, for carving out the time. Congratulations. It's so beautiful to see such extraordinary, high-performing and wonderfully talented women taking time out of their busy days to invest in your own business and yourself to be able to sort of get some clarity around where you're going to be going, what you're going to be doing, how you're going to be doing it, who you're going to be doing it with. So cool. So well done, you. Congratulations, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Lyn.
See ya.
Thanks, Leanne.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Cheers. Bye.